moving forward, let's talk about something dignified over here. It's the Academy Awards, which still very much months out. I mean, it's irrelevant. I don't really know what a front runner would be at this time. That kind of remains to be seen. There's been a lot of really good movies this year. I don't know if there's been many Oscar-worthy movies this year, but that'll change. We're getting into the cooler months of the year. But moreover, that's not why we're talking about the Oscars, however. This was a piece that I saw on Screen Rant from Adam Bentz, and this has been picked up by a lot of platforms. I just gravitated towards the Screen Rant article just because of the fact that it was one of the first that I saw on this matter, is that the Oscars broadcast is implementing some changes to try and increase ratings because the ratings were dour. We talked about it earlier this year, back in April, early May, when the Oscars telecast happened, how the Oscars ratings were down significantly. And I'll just mention this too, just to start. We're not going to go super long on this, but the other thing I'll say though is that, doesn't it feel like Nomadland won? You almost have to remind yourself that Nomadland won Best Picture. I feel like it won, and then nobody speaks of it. Nobody talks about it.
The only person I know that talks about it is Marvel Studios, because they're just like, Chloe Zhao, our Academy Award-winning director. That's the only gonna be people.
Is it going to be like an Artist situation? Remember The Artist, the silent film? Where it's that movie won best picture, right? And it's like no one talked about it ever again.
The Artist is one, I would say, the most forgotten best picture in the last 20 years has to be The Artist. And I would say Nomadland's on the fast track to be around the same. The King's Speech you could probably throw in there. But the fact that we're talking about forgotten movies that won the most prestigious award at the Definitive Film Awards is not a very good sign. And that's a reason they're trying to implement some of these changes. Now, there haven't been a lot of concrete reports as to what the changes will be. But what you have, though, is Matthew Bologna's, he's a Hollywood Insider. He was saying that the Academy Board of Governors won't meet until next month to discuss it, but he's hearing that several awards categories, like the live action animated short films, those will be presented either before the show or during commercial breaks with a brief acknowledgement during the main broadcast. Because the one big thing with the Oscars, and they try to do it every year, they set this goal every year and they always fail at it. They try to keep it 3 hours, because that's the time allotted. If you look at your TV guide or whatever, is 7 to 10. It's never been 3 hours. It's always 3 hours and 20 minutes. One year it was 3 hours and 35 minutes. And even I'm over here like Judge Judy over here, like, come on, man, I gotta get to bed. But they try to get it under 3 hours every year, and it never happens. Because what happens is you think, like this year, I fell in the same trap. They were speeding along pretty well, and I'm thinking this might end around 10:05 or so. But then they're like, oh, we're going fast now. Let's drag it out over here. Let's have Glenn Close doing the butt dance and everything. And then it's like, okay, now, holy crap, it's 10:30. But at any rate, though, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest. I like the Oscars, but it's undeniable that it has lost a lot of prestige in the last few years, as have a lot of award shows. Just in general. And this goes beyond movie, goes beyond TV shows. It goes for music awards too. Award shows do not hold the same level of prestige as they did in the culture even 10 years ago. So I'm not sure exactly what they can do. Another thing that the Hollywood Insider, Matthew Bologna, mentions too, is that he says that it's also the increasingly niche taste of Academy members that he thinks might be turning people off, because it's another one of those things too, where it felt like very few people had seen the nominees, the Best Picture nominees this year. And there was almost no excuse to have that, because they were all streaming releases, either premium or subscription-based services. So I'm not sure exactly what the solution would be, but I can't help but feel bad for the short film directors too, you know what I mean? And filmmakers behind that, if they get slighted on that note, but it remains to be seen.
It's always astounded me how this is the Academy Awards. The whole point of it is that it is a celebration of the film industry as a whole, and it brings together all these titans of the industry in a room, at least the forward-facing ones that you can immediately see. Meanwhile, all the producers and bigwigs too are all getting drunk that night as well. It's all coming together for this night. And it always astounds me how during the actual show, the actual presentation itself, throughout these 4, 5, 6 hours or however long they go at times, we're doing daytime talk show shit. Like we're having Glenn Close, yeah, do a butt dance, which was funny in the moment, sure, but like you have this magnifying glass on you, and you're doing that, and you can't come up with something better. Now, it is difficult to say, what would draw you in to the Oscars more. Now, I don't think the three of us are the average person.
Not at all. I don't know. I'm going to watch the Oscars every
Yeah.
single year. They don't need to market to me. So that's why I almost like step out of it. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
I'm so ingrained in film and I love movies. I don't need to be sold, man. I got my chartreuse liqueur. I got my cats. I got my night, that my ballot. I don't need to be marketed to. You got to find other people. You got to get other
Yeah.
people that are half as nerdy as me.
Yeah. So like, I don't think it's necessarily need to like, play into, well, let me say this, right? Would playing into more the general audience, would that, like by cutting the awards, bring people in? I don't think so, because
I don't
by
think
that,
it would. I don't think it would.
because I think playing into, not necessarily to us nerds, but playing into the heart and soul of your actual purpose as an Oscars, as a celebration of film and awarding that justly. Honestly, I think the show just needs to do more work, like recognizing what it is, and like just playing into that. You don't need to play into like movie trivia shit or whatever. Just play into like a celebration of yourself. So, and that sounds like really like jerking yourself off, but no. What I'm saying is like there are so many. Yeah, yeah. So, like going into like the things that make the movies so cool, and like highlighting that would be so magnificent. Like, for instance, stunt work. We talked about this before. How is there no Oscars for stunt work? Like, you have like, literally like people are dying over this art form, and like for decades now, for literally a century plus. And like you're telling me we can't make an award for that, the most, probably one of the most physically demanding of all, like, that's the whole point, right? And like just raising awareness by having that award would make it, I would think, inherently more interesting, because when people think, again, we're not the general audience, we're not normal in a sense, we're all movie nerds and fans and stuff, but like I would like to think the general audience, when they think of movies, I would have to go to data, but I would think it's like when they think movies, fucking, sorry, Tom Cruise, right? Movie stars, Steven Spielberg, directors. Like, I feel like people barely even think about scripts, right? And we do have awards for that. So like getting into more of the niche and like highlighting that, celebrating that. uh I don't know, best caterer. I'm joking, but
walk
like, what I'm talking about.
you walk a fine line though, because it's like, like, and this is where the snob in me comes out. It's like, I want to see movies like The Father get recognized, and like most recently, like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Black Klansman. I want to see these movies get recognized and appreciated. But like, if the goal is to draw in more audiences, or like, more eyeballs, I don't want to see F9 get a Best Picture nomination. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're going to dilute the product. And the Oscars is not going to have a hair of the prestige. So it's a tricky dance. I'm not saying, there's a reason I'm not an Academy member. There's many reasons. I don't know how to fix it, Joe.
I was going to say, no, I think Dom brings up, like, literally, I'm just going to use the movie I saw this weekend. He brings up a great point with, like, you can find stuff even in those movies, like best stunt choreography. I just got done seeing Shang-Chi on Monday, and like, I'm not gonna go into the movie, but the stunt work in that movie is amazing. It's very well choreographed, and like, you know, it's actually a Marvel movie that didn't use CG for the most part until the final climax. A lot of it was done on like actual practical stuff, and like actual like choreography was put in. So it was like, okay, like you could actually maybe like make a category for like these action films, because at the end of the day, God no, I do not want to see F9 win Best Picture or even have a nomination spot to something like The Father or In the Heights, like that came out this year, like stuff that I really think deserves it. But you can find things like, you know, best special effects, I think has been like become that category where it's just the best special effects of blockbusters, and also like, you know, drama films like, you know, 1917 and other films too that like have, like, you know, Gone Girl I think won it one year because like it like blended in buildings in the background so seamlessly. Like you could start like incorporating like categories like that, I think. I'm not saying like, you know, don't go be like MTV Movie Awards and be like best action moment, best like female action hero. Like no. But like the actual art of like choreography, like it takes time a lot to learn and everything, and to like get it shot on camera and everything.
The Oscars are long overdue for implementing a stunt category.
Yeah,
I think we all agreed on that. We talked about that during the last Oscar. That's
motion
long
capture
overdue.
as well. Like, you know, if you want to start making like include not a separate category, but including them into the best acting performance, or if you want to make it a separate category, go right ahead. I mean, we're having more and more motion capture performances nowadays that like. Could it be its own category at this point? Possibly, but it could. Like, you know, I've seen people always say, like, you know, why isn't Andy Serkis considered for this? Why isn't this person considered for this? Because, like, you know,
doing it right is an art.
Yeah. You know, honestly, like having your face being able to like, you know, like adjust it and everything, it is. The art form is changing nowadays, and like I know like nowadays it is all about how much money can we make with a franchise and everything, but like. There are films out there that are taking like a different approach of how to make something that it really does bring art. The Planet of the Apes films, like, you know, I was just saying with Andy Serkis, like the whole motion capture that went into that for the apes, especially for Caesar himself. It's just like, wow, that was really revolutionary, honestly, like when it came for motion capture and just not practical, special effects in general.